Hi, good afternoon everyone. In today's class, we will discuss the three article. Today's class is specifically based on the mains pattern, how you will use the current affair content for the mains examination. अभी तक हमने जितने भी classes किए हैं, most specifically are related to the prelims. But the current affairs has the same relevance as it in the mains also and the prelims also. So I will discuss the three topics today. One is related to the manual sequencing. Second is related to the internationalization of rupee. So we will discuss these topics and how we can use the newspaper information into the answer writing. So we will discuss it today. Tomorrow is your current affair test. So the syllabus of the current affair test is gadget from 10th July to 15th July. You can read the gadget from 10th July to the 15th July from the Edukemy websites. The all 20 question will be from these dates only. So we are covering these sources for the current affairs. So you can read all the current affairs from the Edukemy websites. There is no need to go to any other sources. We are also providing the magazine from the last month. We are giving the magazine also. So you can see that. So today's topic is any question? In our Telegram groups. Yes. So today's topic is the problem of manual sequencing in India, demographic dividend and India biggest strength, and the internationalization of rupee. So we will discuss these topics one by one. Anybody can tell me what is manual sequencing? Definition. What is manual sequencing? Proper definition. If there is a question, define manual sequencing. सोचो पढ़ते हो रोज. This was the article in the Hindu about the manual sequencing. Recently, the Ministry of Social Justice claimed that the manual sequencing has been eliminated in India. Do you think? No. It is the 30 years now. There was an act formed in the 1993 for the removal of the manual sequencing from the country, and it's a 2023 now. After 30 years, the Social Justice Ministry is saying that we are eliminated the manual sequencing. But if you go to nearby Old Rajendra Nagar Road, you will find the manual sequencing there also. So this is the capital region, and we can think what will happening in the villages in the tier 2, tier 3 cities. So manual sequencing, it is a practice in which the human is cleaning the excreta released by the humans, cleanage of the drainage, cleanage of the sewage, septic tanks by the humans. So this is a clear definition of the manual sequencing. It's a practice of manually cleaning human excreta from the dry latrines, sewers and the septic tanks. Yes, Kaveri, handling to the human excreta. Yes, this is a correct definition. So whenever there is a question in the mains, so you should write about a clean definition. आप अपने से कोई भी वर्डिंग में डेफिनेशन नहीं लिखोगे. इट्स बेटर इफ यू आर राइटिंग अ गुड डेफिनेशन एज पर गिवन बाय द मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ सोशल जस्टिस. एंड इट इज belong to a specific caste, as sometime we are saying them Dalits. The mostly people involved in these occupations are the Dalits, and this is the hazardous and dehumanizing service they are providing to the humans. In the 1993, the central government introduced an act related to the manual sequencing, but there is no proper implementation. No proper implementation of the acts. Even National Commission of the Safai Kramchari, National Commission of the Safai Kramchari was also formed to tackle this issue, and recently their tenure is extended for the 4 years. But this is not also focusing on the on-ground issue related to the manual sequencing. So there can be a question in the GS2 in the social justice. What is manual sequencing? Highlight the issue related to the manual sequencing. Why India, even after 75 years of the independence, not able to remove the manual sequencing from the ground level. These type of the question can be framed in the GS2. So whenever you are reading article in the paper, So there should be clarity how the question can be framed, how I can use the data given in the article in the introduction, how I can compare the data. Anybody can tell me the death in the last 5-6 years from manual scavenging? It's more than 1,000. In the last 4-5 years, the more than 1,000 death due to the manual scavenging. You should also know about the states which is having the highest death due to the manual scavenging. So we will see all these data related to the manual scavenging. So let's see what are the major reasons why the manual scavenging till in India. The first reason is inefficient sewage management system. Inefficient sewage management system means we are not having the proper technology, we are not having the proper machinery which can be operated to clean the septic tanks, which can be operated to clean the drainage. Even we are having the proper machinery, we are not using this machinery to clean the septic tanks and the drainage. Instead of it, they are hiring the manual labor. They are hiring the manual labor at cheap rate and giving them the 500-600 rupee per day. This is one of the reasons, the inefficient sewage management system. And this inefficient sewage management system further leads to the many other things like the recent floods in Delhi. You can see the one of the reasons is the inefficient sewage management system. The proper cleaning of the sewage was not there. And this is also the reason of the major urban floods in the country. Even it's the Bengaluru floods or the Mumbai floods, inefficient sewer management system is a bigger issue. And the no usage of the technology, non-usage of the bigger machinery, like the foreign country are using the bigger machinery for cleaning the drainage system, they are not using that kind of the machinery for the cleanliness. So this is the first reason why still the manual scavenging is operated in India. Second reason can also be there, unemployment issue. Like the people who are belonging to the lower caste, who are belonging to the Dalit category, mostly they are uneducated, we can say. If we talk in the term of percentage, mostly of them are the uneducated or maybe up to the 5th class, 6th class, 10th class. So the employment is not available to them. But in the tier 1 city, tier 2 city, even in the villages also, some of the work of these kinds are offered to them because they are the low cost. So there is a discrimination in between the caste, and the lower unemployment issue, it also lead to the manual scavenging in the country. So you can also add this dimension why the manual scavenging in the country. Second, ineffective implementation of the policy. You can give a clear example even after the formation of the Act in the 1993. Even after the formation of the Act in the 1993, it's the 30 years now. Even in the last year, there are more than the 200 deaths from the manual scavenging. And the government is claiming we eliminated the manual scavenging from the country. So you can mention these data here. The ineffective implementation of the policy. Even after the 2014, the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, government implemented the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, toilet campaign, ODF free villages, open defecation free villages. Even after the efforts of the 2014 Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, ODF villages, we are not able to implement the schemes of the government at the ground level. This is the same as the other schemes of the governments. Even it's about the MSP to the farmers, even it's about the Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana or any other mission launched by the government of India related to it. So this is the same condition, the ineffectiveness or the implementation of the policy. If you are not writing any example or data here, means you are writing the general points. These points can be added everywhere in effective implementation, but with respect to topics, you need to be add example and the data, so you can write a good argument and you can support that argument with the data. So in the mains, example, data as well as the good case study is required. Lack of social mobility. Lack of social mobility means a discrimination between the caste. Even till now, we are discriminating between the caste. This is belong to the upper caste. So this work cannot be given to Brahmin. This work cannot be given to Rajputs. Why this work only to Dalit? So this lack of social mobility in society, discrimination in the society, which lead to the manual scavenging in the country. So these points you can mention. These are the regions of the specific region of the manual scavenging in the country. Why there is still manual scavenging operated in the country. Next part is the effects. If this manual scavenging is continue in the country, what is the effect of this manual scavenging? Number one, social discrimination. If any manual scavenger is sitting beside you and eating food, do you eat food with him? अभी तो यस बोलोगे, बाद में नहीं खाओगे. So that kind of the social discrimination, untouchability, आप पानी भी नहीं पियोगे उसके हाथ का, and the caste based discrimination, exclusion from the society. Even they are going to the hospitals, a doctor said them to sit beside, दूर बैठो, 2 feet दूर बैठो. These kind of the discriminations done with the social manual scavengers, even with the Dalits. But in the documents, the government is saying India is above all. सबने रिसेंट मणिपुर इंसिडेंट्स तो देखा ही होगा कल वाला. That's the thing जिस पे गवर्नमेंट को काम करना चाहिए. They are not speaking about these kind of the things in the country. That's the question mark. How we are choosing our governments. It's not about the BJP, Congress or the Aam Aadmi Party. It's all about how we are choosing our governments. If we are focusing on the social issue, employment, education, infrastructure, or we are just giving on the name of the religion or only on the name of the caste. If I am electing the MLA of my territory, MLA of my constituency, what is my checklist when I will give the vote? The common checklist followed by the people, did it belong to my caste? सबसे पहले यही देखते हैं कि शर्मा खड़ा है तो शर्मा को वोट देके आना है. सेकंड, मुझे कितना एडवांटेज होगा इफ दिस पर्सन बिकम एन MLA इन द सिटी, हाउ आई कैन टेक माई वर्क कंप्लीटेड बाय हिम. थर्ड, किसी को फैमिली में गवर्नमेंट जॉब अगर ये लगवा दें. फोर्थ, द कंडीशन आई एम मेजरिंग हियर कि मुझे अगर कोई शॉर्ट टर्म बेनिफिट देखना है, अगर मेरे घर में 5 वोट हैं, या तो मुझे 2 व्हीलर्स मिल जाए या दे आर ऑफरिंग मी द 50,000 रुपी. This is the general criteria in the 60 to 70% of the voters in the country. And then we are expecting the things, good employment. 70-80 हजार से कम की नौकरी नहीं मिली तो क्या मिली? We are offering a less discriminating society, कि discrimination नहीं होना चाहिए सोसाइटी के बीच में. Then we are expecting the good health infrastructure. अगर आप एम्स में जाएंगे ना अभी ऑपरेशन का डेट लेने, यू विल गेट द डेट ऑफ द नेक्स्ट ईयर. दिस इज द कंडीशन ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर. सो वी आर, हम सामने कुछ हो रहे हैं, जब बातें करते हैं तो कुछ हो रहे हैं. हमें चाहिए सब कुछ वर्ल्ड लेवल का, बट जब इलेक्शन की पावर आती है May 2024, यू ऑल गेट द चांस टू चूज योर गवर्नमेंट. हाउ यू विल चूज, दैट विल डिपेंड. इवन द 60% ऑफ यू विल नॉट वोट, कहेंगे हमारा यूपीएससी पेपर है. दिस इज द कंडीशन विल हैपन. उसके बाद फिर हम एथिक्स में लिख के आते हैं कि क्या होना चाहिए क्या नहीं होना चाहिए. तो दिस इज द कंडीशन एट द ग्राउंड लेवल. देन द सेकेंड पॉइंट इज हियर द कास्ट बेस्ड इनइक्वालिटी इन द कंट्री. द सेम एग्जाम्पल्स ऑफ द ब्राह्मण एंड द दलित्स. लोअर कास्ट इज नॉट ट्रीटेड वेल इन द कंट्री, even in the case of the society, even in the case of the panchayats, even in the case of the health, even in the case of the education, there is a caste based inequality. If you are writing the data here about the education, Dalit people have कितने साल के बाद ड्रॉप आउट स्कूल से, ड्रॉप आउट ऑफ द चिल्ड्रन after going to the school, like after every 3 years they are dropping out from the schools. But in the case of the other caste, it is a minimum average is the 8 years. Spending of these castes on health infrastructure, there was a report of the WHO, the poor people in the country spending the 68% of their income on health. Means if they are earning the 100 rupee, they are spending 68 rupee to maintain their health. They are left with the only 32 rupee, and उनको खाना भी चाहिए, उनको अच्छा एजुकेशन भी चाहिए, उनको रहने के लिए भी चाहिए और बहुत चीजें चाहिए. How it's possible? Means they are increasing the gap between the poverty and the hunger. If I am spending 68% here, I am not afford good food in the market. I am not afford a nutritional food in the market, which lead to a hunger into the country. That is one of the reason under the global hunger index why the India ranked 108. 107, 108 rank India ranked into the global hunger index. Next is the health problem. If any of the, अगर हम बारिश के पानी में भी भीग जाते हैं तो what kind of situation you feels? घर जाके नहाना है, अच्छा नहीं लग रहा, ईचिंग हो रही है स्किन पे, इरिटेशन हो रही है. ह्यूमिडिटी के मौसम में भी यू फील लाइक दिस. बट व्हेन समबडी एंटर इनटू द सेप्टिक टैंक, when somebody enter into the sewage, how they feel? Insects, rats, bacteria, cockroach, harmful gases, methane. These are the components of the sewage system. When they are entering into the sewage, so there is a issue of the exposed to toxic gases. This is one of the reason of the death during the manual scavenging. Bacteria, the skin disease, darkness of the skin. These are some of the health problems if the manual scavenging is going on into the country. So whenever you are writing your answers should be based on the ground level reality. Ground level, what is going on in the country, and you need to balance that answer with the government schemes. You will highlight all these things in the first part of the answer, but in the second part, you will appreciate the government as well, the schemes run by the governments. If you have the data, something related to the schemes, you will mention that data into the second part. Because we are going to join the highest position as a bureaucrat in the country after clearing this exam, so we need a balanced solution. Only identifying the issue is not enough, but suggestion and what the government is doing related to these issues, that's also required there. So as per the National Commission of the Safai Karmchari, in between 2013 to 2017, there is a death of 608 people in the country due to the manual scavenging. And this is the reported one. This is the reported death. But in the India, more than the cases are not reported. Like the case of the rape in the country, only the 5 to 6% of the cases are reported in the country. There is the same condition with this condition also. Next, this is the data, so we can use this data. Like the states, the Tamil Nadu is the state which faced the highest death in between 2019 to 2022 in the manual scavenging. So you can write the name of Tamil Nadu. सबसे ज़्यादा death हुए 32 deaths. Even in the capital, there are 20 deaths. If in the capital the manual scavenging is going on, what is the situation in the other city of the country? So you can write about the 20 deaths in capital in the last 3 years. Uttar Pradesh has the highest number of the manual scavengers according to the government survey of 2018, जहाँ पे राम मंदिर के पीछे ही सारा इलेक्शन हो जाता है. They are having the highest manual scavenger in the country. So you can use these kind of the data in your answers. So your answer will be enriched and you can get the 50-55% marks in the answer. Next is the government initiative. Let's appreciate the government also. The prohibition of the government employment manual scavenging and their rehabilitation amendment bill 2020 was introduced into the parliament, लेकिन पास नहीं हुआ है. Prohibition of the employment manual scavengers and their rehabilitation act 2013, it was passed into the parliament, but there is an implementation issue. So this discrimination not about hygiene or fear of spread disease when people think don't come near me otherwise कोई health problem है. Yes, this is also lead to the health situation ना. सुपर बग का नाम सुना होगा आप लोगों ने, सुपर बग, विच इज मेनली स्प्रेड थ्रू, हाँ, डॉग्स में सबसे ज्यादा होता है. एंड दिस इज लाइक अ सीवेज वाले एरिया में सबसे ज्यादा डेवलप होता है सुपर बग. व्हेन द सुपर बग सेपरेट इन द सोसाइटी लीड टू द वेरियस डेथ्स इन टू द सिटी. एंड इस केस में इवन द टैबलेट्स आर नॉट working because antibiotic resistance in the superbugs. When we drain something like कोई tablets भी डाल देता है, कोई सब कुछ डाल देता है, they are resistant to the tablet, they are resistant to the antibiotics which lead to the formation of superbug. The next act is the Building of Maintenance of Insanitary Latrines Act of 2013, Prevention of Atrocities Act 1989, and the Safai Mitra Suraksha Challenge and the Swachhta Abhiyan app by the government of India. So you can write about the steps taken by the government to control the manual scavenging in the country. हाँ, पीएम नमस्ते है, उसका अभी तक एक्चुअली ग्राउंड लेवल पे इतना कुछ दिखा नहीं है पीएम नमस्ते. So they are working on it. The main issue with the government, they are making the new schemes. We are having the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We are having these 6 schemes. We are launching the 7th one. What is the success rate of these 6? So that's the issue. If we are already having these 6 schemes, if we are merging these all schemes and focus on the implementation and the focus on the outcome instead of the launching new scheme on a daily basis. So this is the government schemes. Let's see the other part. What can be done? हम क्या कर सकते हैं? अभी तो कुछ नहीं कर सकते जब तक ब्यूरोक्रेसी में नहीं है. So let's see the first part. Investing in the modern sewage system. We can take technology transfer from the developed country. Machinery, use of machinery for the cleaning of the sewage tank. Completely prohibition of the manual scavenging. Completely prohibition on ground level. वैसे लॉ में तो complete prohibition है, but on the ground level it is required. If you see the central Delhi area, जहाँ पे पार्लियामेंट वाला एरिया है, और the Delhi Ridge area, जहाँ पे MPs MLAs के फ्लैट्स हैं, if you see the cleanliness in that area with the machines, you will find even the road clean with the machines, even the sewage tanks with clean with the machines. That can be implemented to the other areas also. Here the requirement of the machinery specifically and the skills for operating those machinery and the skill to operating those machines. And forcing the ban on the manual scavenging, the common point you can write. Providing education and employment opportunity. If we are providing the educations, skills and employment to the Dalits, automatically बंद हो जाएगा manual scavenging because they have a good enough money to survive on. So the main idea is providing the education, skills and the employment to the lower strata of the society. Changing the social attitudes. Social attitudes means changing the societal discrimination in between the different caste, in between the different kind of the works the people are doing. Even in our society, there is a discrimination between a peon and a bank clerk. कोई जरा डिफरेंस नहीं है दोनों में. Peon in the bank and the bank clerk. There is a discrimination in the society. Even this person is earning more than this one. Then also there is a discrimination. So we need to change in society if we want to remove the discrimination, social issues out of the society. This can be done for removing the manual scavenging. How, क्या एक proper process होना चाहिए to curb the manual scavenging? Number one, identification of the area. We will identify the area in which the maximum manual scavenging, like the Uttar Pradesh, having the maximum manual scavengers. So a project can be done into the Uttar Pradesh. Highest manual scavenger in the Uttar Pradesh, so a simple project can be done related to that in the Uttar Pradesh. Proactive involvement of stakeholders. There are the various stakeholders, local people, municipal committee, Panchayati Raj, then the state government, then central government. These are the stakeholders. The active involvement of all the stakeholders are required, and the maximum involvement of the public is required here. Without the involvement of the citizens, the schemes cannot be successful. If the publics are aware of these things, then it can be stopped. Mass awareness through radio, through news channels, through hoardings. Rehabilitation and the compensation of manual scavengers. Under the law, recently the commission suggested the 10 lakh rupee as a compensation for the death of a manual scavenger worker. Investing in the proper human waste management, example the Swachh Bharat and the Swasth Bharat campaign. Why the Swachh Bharat campaign is successful in the country? क्यों success हुआ? The main reason is the public participation. Everybody participated in the Swachh Bharat campaign and which give a fruitful results. The same thing is applied here. If the public participation is increased into the schemes, then their success rate will increase. Robotic scavenging, like the Bandikut robot, start using in the Kerala for the cleanliness of the sewage tank. And the social integration, less discrimination in the society. So this can be a how we can take it from the ground level. How can India curb the manual scavenging from first point identification to the final results, how it can be done. Now there is a question related to it. Please think on the question what you will write there. So this is the question related to the manual scavenging. Read the question. Define manual scavenging and analyze its persistence in India. Evaluate whether state governments have been successful in completely eradicating manual scavenging. This is a 15 marker. You need to be write in 250 words. For this part, everybody write. What you will write in the analyze its persistence in India. What you will write here.
And its successful implementation of policies and the number of deaths.
Its consistency since past. Despite of all the being मतलब जितने भी एक वगैरह पास हो गए लेकिन अभी उसकी ग्राउंड पे एक चीज नहीं.
सबसे पहले you will write in the analysis. Start with the recent data. Recent announcement of the Social Justice Ministry, the removal of the manual scavenging from the country. Then you contradict this line again. Recently death due to the manual scavenging, and write about the states which are having the manual scavengers, issue of the Delhi capital, and then write about the law which government done. So ये analysis part में you will write. Then evaluate whether the states governments have been successful in completely eradicating manual scavenging. यहाँ पे आपको 4 से 5 examples देना होगा. 4 to 5 examples. 2-3 examples in favor, 2-3 examples in against. Like you can give the against examples of the Tamil Nadu and Uttar Pradesh, successful example of Kerala. And some of the other case study you will write there within the successful examples, how the state government is performing related to the manual scavenging. You can write about the using of the robotics in the manual scavenging, using of the machinery, skills development related to it, and any other state government initiative specifically related to manual scavenging. So you will search that specific state initiative and any successful initiative by any of the states related to manual scavenging. So next topic of our discussion is the demographic dividend. Anybody can define demographic dividend? What is demographic dividend? एज ग्रुप कितना होगा? 60 ईयर्स तो इंडिया में एज है काम करने की. इसमें भी कंफ्यूजन है. So let's see the definition. 15 to 64. According to, whenever you are starting writing, learn definition according to the institution. Like United Nations give the definition of the demographic dividend. Definition of the manual sequencing is given by the Social Justice Ministry. तो you can directly quote according to the United Nations. मेरे according नहीं है, इसने ये बोला है, गलत बोला, सही बोला, इसने बोला है, तो वही लिख के आना है. According to United Nations Population Fund, demographic dividend means the economic growth potential that can result from shift in population age structure, mainly when the share of the working age population 15 to 64 is higher than the aged population. This is the proper definition of the demographic dividend. कोई ये definition लिखता है, कोई अपने according definition लिखता है, तो this having the higher impact. ठीक है? So main age group is the 15 to 64. When the non-working age share is less in the country, means the aged population is less in the country and the working population is the higher in the country. That means the highest demographic dividend. So in the demographic dividend, what is the stage in India? India का क्या stage है? Yes, India is having the youngest population in the country now. And that's why this article appeared in the newspaper. In the next 25 years, how we are going to use this demographic dividend in the country. Here you need to know about some of the examples of the other country, how they use their demographic dividend, like the Japan, like the South Korea, like the Singapore, even the China, how they use their demographic dividend. And what is the status related to numbers in India? How is India going to use? What is the issue with the India when they are using their demographic dividend? So we will discuss these 3-4 points in the demographic dividends. First is about the demographic dividends of India and the world. India has an average age of 29. Average age of 29 years. And the most developed country having the age of 38, 40 to 45, 48, like Germany, Japan, US, China and the France. Means our age group is almost 10 years smaller than the other country. Means we can grow in the next 10 to 20 years multiple times than these countries because of our demographic dividend structure. But there is a term and condition applied. In the present situation, we cannot grow even equal to these countries because of our technology, because of skill development and the opportunity given by the government. So if we want to grow at a multiple time, we should focus on these demographic dividends age group, specifically the age group in between 20 to 30 years of the age. How we are going to use these age group for the highest output in the country and the highest skill development of these age group. So how we will do that? That depend on the government policy, government skill policy, education policy and कैसे उनको involve करेगा laborers को manufacturing sectors में. The manufacturing is the weak section of the country. How the government is going to use these demographic dividends in manufacturing sector, in service sectors and in agriculture, depend on their skills. India old age dependency ratio will reach 37% in 2075, where the other country have 55% for France, 75% of Japan, 49% for USA and the 53% for the United Kingdom. Means this percent of the population will be aged population. But in India, the condition is reverse. We are only having 37% of the aged population till 2075. Means we are having a bigger period, 50 years in between that. If we are dividing these 50 years into 30 to 20 years, means these 30 years can be very fruitful for the country. even it's increasing in the GDP of the economy, even it's increasing the employment in the country through the development of the infrastructure, through the development of the skill, through the development of the manufacturing sector. So this data is important for you whenever you are writing your answer. So you can compare the Indian economy demographic dividend with the other country. Next is the lesson from the Asian success story. So you can use these type of the case study in writing between them when you're suggesting what India can do. So you can suggest how India can harness the demographic dividends. Asian countries like China, Japan, South Korea effectively utilize their favorable demographic to drive economic growth and development. You can write about the China growth story. After the 1995, the growth story of the China. Before independence, like in India, independent in 1947 and the China in 1950 के आसपास हुआ. At that time, the Indian economy was very high than the Chinese economy. Even during the time of the 1960, 1970, both are the equivalent. But what happened after 1970, 1980, China is multiple times bigger than the India. So this is the use of the demographic dividend from the 1990, 1980, 1990 के time से, and the policy change by the leader of the China, how they utilize, how they strong their manufacturing sector. Because the manufacturing sector is a sector in the country which absorb the maximum labor. Even it's a textile, even it's a toy, even it's some of the other industry related to the manufacturing in the country. Second is a shifting toward the labor intensive production. That means the manufacturing sector. In India, from the agriculture, we directly shifted to the service sector. The contribution of the manufacturing sector in the country is very less. 30-35% of the population is working into the agriculture. 50-55% of population is working into the service sector. Only the 9-10% of the population is working into the manufacturing sector. Whereas this is reverse in the China, where the manufacturing sector, the 30-40% of the population is working. So this should be the condition if the India want to use maximum output from its demographic dividend. So you will support your answer with the data. ऐसे लिखोगे चाइना का ज्यादा इंडिया का, में कोई मार्क्स नहीं देगा until and unless you are writing the numbers related to it. Is the test made from this session only? Hi Monica, the test is made from the 5 gadgets. It's dated from 10th of July to the 15th July. From the Edukemy website you can read. Some of the questions you will find from this also. Then the structural transformation. Transitioning from the labor intensive industry to the advanced industry when the manufacturing sector of any of the countries becomes strong, like the condition of China right now. Their manufacturing sector is very strong. Now they are transferring from the manufacturing sector to the higher tertiary sectors, quaternary sectors. How they can grow at the multiple time with transitioning from the manufacturing to the service sector. But there is a condition, opposite condition in the India. We transition first to the service sector. Now we are transitioning from service to the manufacturing sector. This is the opposite condition for any of the country to grow. So we need to be focused on how India will do, what will be the policy of India to use the demographic dividend to make its GDP growth multiple time in the next 20-25 years, and what is the target set, and how is India going to use its demographic dividends. You are also a part of demographic dividends. How will you use yourself for the growth of the country? What needs to be done to efficiently use in India? क्या क्या करना होगा? What is required for maximum output by the demographic dividends? One is the increased opportunity. कैसे? Increased opportunity means increased opportunity in employment. ये तो सबको पता होगा. Increased opportunity in skill development. Increased opportunity in higher education. Increased opportunity in link of education with industry. Shifting from agriculture to manufacturing sector. These are the opportunity that can be increased for the demography. Women participation. increase of women participation. These are the points you can write when there is an increased opportunity related to the demographic dividend. Second is the increased marginal productivity of labor. What does it mean? Marginal productivity of labor.
Extra productivity, what is given and what you can produce extra with that.
Like in the agriculture, which type of unemployment in the agriculture? Disguise unemployment. When there is only 4 people are required and the 7-8 are working, means their marginal productivity of labor is 50%, because the 4 people can work the same as the 8 people are working. So we need to increase the marginal productivity of labor of these 4 workers, and we need to involve these 4 into the another activity. So we can increase this MPL to 100%. So the government intervention is required to increase the marginal productivity of labor in the each section, even it's the manufacturing, even it's the agriculture, even it's a service sector. So we required a increase in the marginal productivity of the labor. You can add data here. Data related to the MPL of China. MPL ये ऐप वाला मत देखना, गेम वाला, marginal productivity of labor, and the MPL of India. So you can compare productivity here. India should reach to that level for the demographic dividend. Next point is focus on labor intensive industry. Means we are shifting from the agriculture to service, but now we need to shift on the labor intensive industry, so we can absorb the unskilled labor of the agriculture in the some of the work into the manufacturing sector, like the packaging work can be done and some of the segregation work can be done. So we need to be focused on the labor intensive industry, like the textiles. Bangladesh is doing a very good job in related to textile. Bangladesh, Thailand, Myanmar. These countries are doing a very good job in textile production. Toy industry, abhi tak before 2019, we are importing the maximum toys from the China. But after the intervention of the central government, the launching of the schemes related to toy, we are now exporting. And the import is very less related to the toy industry in India now. Focus on the footwear. Abhi there is a trend, whenever you are buying something branded, like किसी भी कंपनी खरीदते हो, most of the cases you find the made in Bangladesh. Even it's the Adidas, even it's the Nike, you will find made in Bangladesh. So that is a textile hub now for the some of the company, because of the cheap labor, because of the environment provided by the government there, and the auto components and the sports. In this, India is doing a good job in the auto components, and we need to improve this sector also. So focus on the labor intensive sectors where they can absorb the maximum labor. Absorption in the tertiary sectors like the hotel chain, healthcare, restaurant. These are tertiary sectors which can be promoted in the country. They are the very less chain in the country which are represented at the international level in the hotel industry. Except Taj, there are very less chain of the hotel industry which are represented into the world level. With the specific, with also the healthcare system, except the AIMS, वो भी specifically Delhi AIMS. There is no major hospital also except the Medanta in Gurgaon. There are very less hospitals which are represented at the world level in the India with respect to the health conditions and the health infrastructure. And the restaurants, there can be the multiple types of the restaurants. Industry and the infrastructure development. Industry developments like the investment in the transportation. There is a very less city in India which is having a Delhi-like transportation. The transportation of metro, transportation of the buses. Even in the Chandigarh is a structured city in the country, the transportation is very bad there. In Bengaluru also, no proper transportation as compared to Delhi. So we need to be focused on the transportation and linking this industry with the engineering industry. The 80% of the engineering not able to get the job. So we need to be linked the industry so they are able to get to job in the different sectors. Energy. Now the world is looking at the option of renewable energy. So there is a huge gap in the market demand and the research related to the renewable energy. Like the FAME scheme was started by the government of India, faster adoptability of the electric vehicle in the country. So similar kind of the schemes can be run. International Solar Alliance, where we are focusing on the solar energy. Same thing can be done with some of the other energy. National Hydrogen Mission, the government started. So we need to be focused on the industry and the infrastructure development. And the last, not the least, the digital connectivity. In India, this is a big area. There is cheapest data in India. Do you know? सबसे सस्ता data India में ही है world में. After the Jio, this market revamped. Even at the villages, you will get the faster speeds of the internet when it's not possible before 2015-16. Then the push to the MSME. MSME are the industry which are exporting approximately 25 to 26% of the total export of the country. Approximately after the COVID it decreased because number of the MSME shut down. Now it's come downward. So there is a focus on the increase the MSME, provide them the finance so they can absorb the maximum labor here and can also use the exports of the country. So it can help in the formation of the reserves for the country. Skilling and education, this is the main point. If we want to use the demographic dividend very well, the skill development is required. Like the introduction in the new education policy of 2020, they are linking the education system with the skill development. They start it with after 8th class. If you want to pursue some of the area, you can directly go to the skill development and you will get a certification course. Social security and the health care. Social security means the government will provide some of the schemes to the worker where they feel secure about related to the health, related to the food security and related to the housing incomes and some of the other security given by the government to the laborers. So we need to be focused on the social and the health care. Health care of this demographic dividend also. So if the health infrastructure is good in the country, spending on the health will decrease and that can be invested into some of the other businesses. These are the things which need to be done for efficiently use of the demographic dividend in the country. This is the data you can use. In the China, the 18% people are in between the 10 to 24 age, where in the India, the 26% in 10 to 24 years of age, 7% above the 65, where in the China, the 14% are above the 65 years of the age, means the India is having the advantage with respect to the demographic dividend. But in the case of the technology, in the case of the manufacturing, in the case of the policy implementation, the China is much ahead to the country. So we need to be focused on these three factors if we want to use our demography efficiently. These are some of the government initiatives are taken by the government of India for the demographic dividend. One is the skill development initiative, Jan Shikshan Sansthan, Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana, where the government of India is focusing on the skills. Ayushman Bharat and the Swachh Bharat Mission, Ayushman Bharat for the specific for the healthcare industry. National Education Policy, the linking of the education with the manufacturing sector. And the support to MSME, recognizing MSME as a backbone for the Indian manufacturing sectors. So these are some of the initiatives taken by the government of India for the demographic dividend. So you can mention these of the initiative related to if there is a suggestion asked in the question. So there is a question related to it. Please try to answer. I will not tell ki kya likhna, you will tell me. Why is it crucial for India to prioritize and focus on its demographic dividend when there is a possibility of it turning into a demographic digester. Discuss. Demographic dividend, there is a possibility to turn into a demographic digester. What you will write?
First of all, introduction and demographic dividend definition, and then we will write that why it is crucial. What is the importance for India the demographic dividend? How can it reap? And then if we will write then if India cannot reap the huge benefit from the demographic dividend, it may cause demographic disaster because of the population burst. So we can focus on.
और क्या पॉइंट हो सकता है? पॉपुलेशन तो लास्ट का पॉइंट आ जाए. व्हाट कैन बी द अदर पॉइंट्स? हाँ,
डिपेंडेंसी बढ़ जाएगी
किस पे?
वर्किंग पॉपुलेशन होगी अगर डिविडेंड डिजास्टर में चेंज
pressure on resources.
Good point. In the introduction, what you will write? Any other than the demographic dividend definition. What can be the best introduction for this question?
एशियन कंट्री से हमको एशियन कंट्री से कंपेयर कर सकते हैं जैसे उन्होंने कराया.
Here we need to be focused on read the question twice thrice. You will get an idea exactly what the question is demanding. Then write the question introduction according to the demand of the question, so that the essence of the question is appear in your introduction itself. So whenever examiner is reading your introduction, so he should know हाँ इसको पता है क्या पूछा गया है. If you are just writing the demographic dividend definition, that not the core demand. They are saying demographic dividend तो है, अगर उस पर सही से काम नहीं किया गया तो डाइजेस्टर में कन्वर्ट हो सकता है. तो you will write here the India is having the highest demographic dividend population, but from the recent 5-6 years from the government scheme there is not much outcome. If we see the unemployment level in the country, if we see the skill development level, we can quote the ASER report where the 8th class children is not read the 3rd class book. Even the some of the government reports of the Niti Aayog where the demography is not working well in the education, in the skills, in the unemployment. If this condition is going to be continued, that demographic dividend can lead to the demographic disasters. If you're not writing these kind of the introduction, तो वो एक general marks देगा. If you're writing with data supporting your argument, you will get out of 15, the maximum marks UPSC is giving the 7. This is the maximum mark, कितना भी अच्छा लिखोगे. If you're writing the average, you will get a 3, 3.5, not more than that. If you're writing the essence of the question into the introduction, you will get the 5.5, but what you are writing in the body part, that will also depend. So whenever you are writing the questions, think, read question 2-3 times, break the question into multiple parts, then brainstorm what you will write in the different parts. आप क्वेश्चन देखते ही सीधे लिखना शुरू हो जाने के बाद एक तो सबसे बड़ा इशू है कोहेरेंस नहीं आएगा आपके आंसर में. आप सबसे पहले वो लिखोगे जो आपको याद है, वो नहीं लिखोगे जो क्वेश्चन का डिमांड है. बिफोर राइटिंग द क्वेश्चन, ब्रेनस्टॉर्म फॉर 30-40 seconds so you can arrange your content according to the demand of the question. So this is required whenever you are preparing for the mains examination, and prelims is just a gateway. उसका fear ज़्यादा है, but it's an entry gateway only. The final rank decider is the mains examination. Until and unless you don't know how to address the question, how to write the question within the 8-10 minutes, what is the question demands, you will not able to qualify the mains. So try to understand the demands, try to write the answer. Answer लिख के लेके आओ, दिखा दो मुझे, I will check. तो लिखना तो आपको ही पड़ेगा, वो मैं नहीं लिखूंगा. Try to do that on a daily basis. Like these are 2 questions I give you. Please try to write and show me day after tomorrow on Monday. कभी भी दिखा दो. Telegram पे you can send me. So try to write at least कि आप लोगों को आता कितना है. Whenever you are reading an article, उसका outcome हमें कैसे पता लगेगा? when we are writing. पढ़ने में आर्टिकल हमें अच्छा लगा कि हाँ अच्छा है, but when we are deriving the answers from that article, how I will write, what other thing I will include in this article, that is matter. तो प्लीज ट्राई टू राइट. इन डेली एडुकेमी वेबसाइट पे एक एडिटोरियल्स आता है, उसके नीचे एक क्वेश्चन भी होता है डेली बेसिस पे. ट्राई टू राइट दैट क्वेश्चन आफ्टर रीडिंग द एडिटोरियल. इफ यू आर डूइंग दिस थिंग, you will know how to use the information of the newspaper and how we can link the other aspect of that article into the answer. That is required if you want to a proper study. बाकी न्यूज को पढ़ने में टाइम वेस्ट मत करो. That can be covered easily within the 15 days of reading of the current affairs. That's why in these classes I am covering only those 4-5 articles that is required for both prelims and the mains. If you are preparing for the mains well, you can easily prepare for the prelims. For the prelims, we are going to run a course also, जो इसमें इसके साथ ही होगा. We are taking the 2025 classes specific for the prelims, जहाँ पे सारे topics साल भर के कराए जाएंगे. But try to do the answer writing. Try to attempt the test of Saturday, जहाँ से आपको क्वेश्चन पता लग जाता है किस टॉपिक से क्या क्वेश्चन आएगा, किस तरीके से क्वेश्चन पूछा जा सकता है, what can be the framing of the question. So that will help you to develop a level whenever you are reading an article. You will write the important points of that article. Okay, so we will not discuss the third one. It's already boring to all of you. So please try to write the answer and read this third article. This is very important article, and a question can be expected from this article, the internationalization of the rupee. And please note down the answer also, question also, so you can write answer for it. Note down this question. Yes, you will get it, but you will note down also. Examine the importance of approaching the internationalization of rupee. Examine the importance of approaching the internationalization of rupee with caution, considering both the potential benefit and risk involved in the process. They are the keywords: internationalization of rupee, potential benefits, and risk involved. You will add some of the data, some of the case study related to it, and write in only in the 150 words, not more than that. And you can frame your answer only by reading this article. All the order is given in this article. Article is from the Indian Express. Okay, so tomorrow is test at 11 a.m. Read the gadget of 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th. जिसको नहीं पता कहाँ पे दिखता है, यहाँ पे होता है गैजेट. You will find in the current affairs. Internet issue, you will find the in current affairs, in the daily current affairs, you will find the date wise. Please read. Tomorrow there will be 20 questions related to those days only. 10 to 15. 10 to 15 you will find them. Okay. Okay, you are welcome.